People of YouTube, accept this tier list from the Weeaboo Warrior.
Sing!
Well, that's weird, but okay. Who is your favorite peerless Weeaboo? Who is your favorite peerless Weeaboo? Who's the greatest YouTube power scaler? Haha! Who's so unbelievably humble? Who is your favorite peerless Weeaboo? Who is your favorite peerless Weeaboo? Who is the Weeaboo who entertains you guys in exchange for a social life? Who's never been touched by a maid? Weeaboo Warrior's never getting laid! Who is your favorite peerless Weeaboo? Who is your favorite peerless Weeaboo?
Wow, yeah, wow!
Hola, me Weeaboos, and welcome to my Puss in Boots Strength and Power tier list, where I will be ranking all of the relevant Puss in Boots characters in terms of how powerful I think they are in combat. I was initially going to make a list on the entire Shrek-verse, but I believe Shrek 5 is just on the horizon, so I will wait until that time comes to make the complete list. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video and other future tier lists. Now, let's get this fiesta started. At the bottom of this tier list is Jiminy Cricket. He's a bug. Need I say more? Next is the Golden Goose. Not only does it have no combat ability, it only has animal level intelligence. And it poops gold, making it a target for pretty much everyone. Slightly higher is the unwanted, unloved Perito. He is a lover, not a fighter. And the most devastating move of his I can think of is him creeping you out with his belly. He's smarter than the goose, and at least has teeth. So if you took away his loving nature, I'm sure he could find a way to win. He can also dig pretty quickly, so maybe he can twist someone's ankle, or bury them alive. Humpty Alexander Dumpty is an egg with no combat ability whatsoever. His body's in extremely unoptimal shape for fighting, and he has to worry about cracking himself open. He did manage to seemingly overpower the Golden Goose, and he could definitely win with his intelligence. So in this list, the chicken definitely comes before the egg. Little Boy Blue was able to bully the oversized egg, but he's just a child with blue skin. So if anyone above on the list fought him, he would turn into Little Boy Black and Blue. The crazy cat lady Mama Luna and Puss's foster mother Imelda were able to dominate their respective homes filled with small furry animals and young children respectively. So they should have no problem keeping the characters below them in line. But against any real fighter, they're screwed. Beefing up into the man tier, at the bottom are your standard soldiers, represented in the tier list by the Comandante of San Ricardo. They are armed and dangerous, but they're basically the standard fodder of the verse and are easy pickings for any relevant fighter. The Baker's Dozen were well known enough for Puss in Boots to know and seemingly fear them, and they got some crazy looking weapons. So while they're still fodder, they're probably above the basic soldier fodder. The man who shall not be named, because I don't know his name, at the beginning of the first Puss in Boots movie is another fodder character Puss had to fight. But he put up a better fight than most with his cat cage and cat catching stick weapon combo. He's also pretty good at throwing knives. The next three characters are the three kittens from the Three Diablos special. Regular soldiers feared them, and Princess Alessandra Balagamba said they were the most vile and fearsome mercenaries they ever encountered. They're very devious and were able to capture and bury alive Puss when he had his guard down. They played dirty, literally, countering Puss's cute stare by throwing dirt in his eye. Though this did backfire on them, as it allowed Puss to do some sort of strange galaxy stare. They were later trained by Puss and became even more skilled. They're all around the same level, but Sir Timoteo Montenegro III would probably go below his sister Perla and his brother Gonzalo due to him being kind of a doofus. Puss before the Boots, when he was just a little kitten, was able to easily defeat Little Boy Blue and the other bullies, as well as stop a charging bull and save the Commandante's mother. Moving up to the warrior tier, we start getting into some of the heavy hitters. The first group of characters are Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I put Goldilocks at the bottom as she admitted herself, the bears are the smash, and she's the grab. though she's quite a skilled fighter herself with her stick and can hold her own with her family. The three bears are physical powerhouses, being able to bust through walls and toss people dozens of feet. Or should I say, Baker's dozens of feet. Ignore I said that. Out of the three bears, Baby seemed to be the weakest, as not only was he the smallest, he also seemed to be the stupidest. Papa Bear is likely the strongest, as he's the biggest and toughest, being unfazed by Puss's stick, while Baby and Mama were slapped away by it. So if Baby Bear is too weak, and Papa Bear is too strong, that leaves Mama Bear in the middle, with her strength being just right. I really need to stop with these cringe jokes. Up next is the Whisperer. The three kittens from the 3 Diablo special were his subordinates and feared him. And when they ganged up on him in a surprise attack, they couldn't take him down, so he would logically go a tier above them. His best feat is beating Puss in a duel using his extendable mace to disarm him, though he only managed to do that because Puss was looking back at the bottomless pit right behind him. Jack and Jill went up the hill and have also given Puss some trouble, with Jack knocking him out from behind and Jill getting the edge over him while he was off guard, similar to the Whisperer. But they have a gun, so they could just shoot any of the characters below them. I put Jill above Jack as she bit through her rope restraints, while Jack remained stuck in his. This savage and beautiful couple killed together, but they also died together, getting stomped underfoot by the Great Terror, which lands this giant Goose in the tier above. The Great Terror was able to terrorize the town of San Ricardo, essentially unopposed, with the entire town's defense force being able to do diddly squat. The sleeping giant of Del Mar is also huge and able to tear up buildings, but his body's better for fighting. He's more aggressive, and likely more intelligent as well. The Goose's only advantage is her flight, but I don't think that would be enough. You could argue the Great Terror should be higher since Puss defeated the giant, but wasn't able to defeat the Goose. But Puss never really wanted to hurt the Great Terror, nor did he try. He easily outmaneuvered it though, and could probably pierce it full of holes with his sword if he really wanted to. Jack Horner has a host of magical tools that make him a force to be reckoned with. Even without any of his magic tools, he's a very large man. Despite his looks, that isn't all fat, as he was able to swing Excalibur with the stone slab still on the end of it like it was a baseball bat, and smashed Goldie and the three bears with it. Without any weapon at all, he would likely be a tier down, right below the three bears, as they were bigger than him and have claws. His magic staff clearly put him above them though, and with his Phoenix flamethrower he could probably burn that entire tier to a crisp. Once he eats his special snacks and turns giant, there's no question he's in this tier. He might be a bit smaller than the other two giant creatures, but I have a hard time seeing him lose to a giant goose that honestly probably weighs less than him considering birds are usually lighter than they look. And if Jack's strength upscales with his size, he should be able to smack away the larger giant like he could the larger three bears at his normal size. He's also smarter and might still be able to use some of his other magic equipment. He might even be able to win without going giant at all with his magic staff, which I think was the cause of the wishing star lifting up. So maybe he could just make the giant float away or disintegrate it. Kitty Softpaws is above these three behemoths as she was about even with Puss, and Puss was able to defeat the sleeping giant of Del Mar, while both of them were able to give Horner the Spanish Splinter. She got the better of Jack, but it was at regular size as well, though when it comes to outright strength, she's vastly inferior to the three below her. So if she isn't careful, she could definitely lose to any of them. She should have multiple of her 9 lives left though, so even if she does go down, she would have another chance to get her revenge. The legend himself, Puss in Boots, goes right above Kitty, as I think he always had the slight edge over her. And he still has his claws, which is another advantage. But I think after he overcame his fear of death at the end of the last wish, he clearly surpassed her, as he surpassed his former self, who was getting absolutely dominated by death. While at the end of the movie, he managed to disarm death itself. Speaking of death, at the top of my tier list is...
Death. Straight up.
Initially, he held clear superiority over Puss, but at the end of the movie, Puss was able to match and even get the better of him. However, Puss admitted he knew he could never actually win, and considering this is the literal incarnation of death we're talking about, I think it's highly likely we didn't see his full power. And even if we did, he would be a prime Puss in Boots level character that would be immortal and unstoppable, so eventually everyone on this list would go down to him. And so will you all too. On that note, I'm ending this list. Your time is finite, so I suggest you enjoy it to your fullest by watching all of my videos. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of them, as that would be essentially losing out on life. Remember, death comes early for you if you take your life for granted, and not watching my videos is taking your life for granted.